wonderful morning here in the city of Uyo, and of course, I don't know how you feel, but of course, the director today feels women first.
Yeah.
Before men.
It's a good thing, and I commend him because he pays attention to details. The fact that you look good, your dress is lovely, you have some sparkling stones in it, and so I think he's attracted to the stones. You guys might want to talk about it after the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I decided to start with you.
That's okay.
You wanted to start on the bright side of life because you look bright.
Oh, but bright isn't here though. That is okay. Well, welcome to the Morning Express, of course, the weekend edition on ADBN TV. And of course, we get to talk about matters of national concern, issues that affect the common Nigerian man. And of course, we get to capture these stories as well as analyze them to get people to understand which aspect and which aspect should they pay more attention to. I'm Jennifer Pius, and yes, I won't be doing it alone. Today I'll use the delectable for you.
No, delectable for ladies. You've got the gentle, don't let me blow my trumpet.
Let me blow it
the
for
gentle,
you.
fine.
The gentle, handsome Ikechukwu.
Oh, thank you.
Jue.
Give me my flowers.
Yes, please.
My name is Ikechukwu Jue, has been rightly introduced. We'll take a short break, and after the break, we'll come back and welcome our reviewers. We dive straight into what the papers are reporting for this morning. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Morning Express. Stay tuned.
The overall function of the parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes to federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Welcome back. Now let's head to the newspapers and what they're capturing. But before we take a look at the papers, let's welcome our reviewer for today. I'm talking about Mr. Paulinus Sinta. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Paulinus, you're welcome. You look particularly Delton today.
Yeah.
The spirit of the season.
What is the season?
It was
political season, the defection season.
So okay, so this is the looks for defection?
Not really the look for defection, but I am somehow influenced by the euphoria and all of that. So somehow, directly or indirectly.
Okay, so very soon you change your flight.
No, I wouldn't. I'm a journalist. I don't have to change my flight.
Okay. Well, I think he foresaw what the papers will be talking about. So let's head straight to the nation. The nation is pointing its light on the South region, and his dress is like a Niger Delta. Let's look at the nation, which says here, Akwa Ibom Governor's defection. Notice excites APC, jolts PDP. The writer says, why I'm joining ruling party by Eno. We are set for Akwa Ibom political tsunami. Saraki, Dixon, Dankwabo beg Enugu governor to stay. Defection to APC won't stop trial of corrupt governors, AGF. EFCC slams Atiku's aid over claim chairman met South-South governors. That's one of it. And as much as I would just love to stop there, but let's look at Saturday Tribune. Saturday Tribune still talks about the PDP. Saturday Tribune says here, government to seal off PDP headquarters on Monday. This is on unpaid ground rent. Parties Tuesday NEC meeting at risk. PDP vows to challenge takeover. Action not politically motivated. FCTA. 4,793 other properties affected. This is still political. Another politics. Saturday Vanguard. Saturday Vanguard says here, Tinubu at midterm. Who are the people government is satisfying? Pertinent questions. Dreams of 2023, now nightmares of 2025. 3 things president must do now. So much of politics. And let's just dock at The Guardian. The Guardian says here, 2027 election in focus. Operation Jagabanese, Southern Nigeria on the rise.
Operation Jagabanese.
Oh, Jagabanese. All right, Mr. Paulinus.
Fine operation.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine operation. So
sounds
you
fine.
think this operation...
It sounds fine. I don't
It
know.
sounds fine.
It sounds fine.
Let me take that word. I kind of like that word. Is the South being Jagabanized?
Jagabanized is, I think it's a very peculiar and very sensational coinage.
Chido's that journalist.
Yeah, he is. He's a language engineer. As a perfect piece of language engineering work.
So with the gale of defections, especially with what's been trending here in Akwa Ibom and some places in the South, you think the South is about to be Jagabanized?
Yeah, from the look of it, you see, politics is a game of numbers and permutations and forecasts or whatever. But you see, if you look at it from what is on ground, from evidences on ground, it's possible to become Jagabanized.
So are you saying that they are not defecting because of the party, but they are defecting because of Jagaban?
Because of Jagabanization.
Okay.
Well, when you talk about the party, I think Jagabanization is the same thing as the APC in Nigeria, because he is the head of the APC for now. Okay. You know, the functional head of the APC. So if you say it's somebody is defecting because of the party, the same thing as being, you know, as defecting because of the Jagabanization.
Okay, now
But before Jennifer, before you move, there have been conversations in and around these defections. Some people are saying, will the APC be able to handle, you know, the gains that they're having now? Everyone seems to be emptying into the APC, the Labour Party, the PDP, the NNPP, everybody emptying into the APC. Do you think the fear that has been expressed about implosion, you think the APC will implode? I had to reduce my voice to say that.
Well, implosion is a function of displeasure, bitterness, and conflict, internal conflict. So if the APC is able to, if they are able to put in place functional mechanism to checkmate internal crisis, it may not necessarily happen.
You think they can handle the numbers?
About the numbers? What? Come again, please.
You think they can handle the numbers?
Why not? Is it not the government party? That's the party, the ruling party in the country. They should be able to. Okay. Is it in terms of funding the party? Or protecting the interest inside? It's possible.
Yeah, it's the interest that comes with, we have so many people joining, and all these people have their interest.
Right.
So can they curtail that?
Politics is all about interest. There's nothing outside politics than interest and service. Now, if you are guided by the philosophy that you are there for interest, either your own or your brother's interest, you should be able to allocate this interest, just like this man, David Easton, in his definition of politics.
Yeah.
Authoritative allocation of resources.
But there are persons who have expressed fear that beyond 2027, the Jagabanization fever and the APC may not go beyond the Jagaban himself. Do you think the APC will hold strong and still be that same party even after the Jagaban's tenure?
Yeah, if proper roots is implanted beyond 27, the Jagabanization theory can still remain, while the Jagaban himself may not necessarily go beyond 227. That is after the second term, you understand? So if the party, just like PDP ruled for more than a decade or 2 decades or thereabouts. So it's possible for APC to continue if proper routes are put in place, if interests are handled. That's the most important thing.
Okay, I'll look specifically at Akwa Ibom. You're here in Akwa Ibom, and there's been so much talk about the governor's defection, the minor's defection, and the statement to commissioners: defect with me or resign. You think with the number of activities that had been ongoing even during the 2015 election, the talks from the PDP, that a number of persons would like to move with the governor? Or isn't this some form of imposition on the commissioners? Don't you think there should be some leverage? You can choose to defect with me, but you still complete your tenure or whatever.
Yeah, actually, it's not new. It's not strange. The only thing that appears a bit strange is the vocalization of that principle, making it public. Defect with me or I drop you is a very normal thing. There's no way you would, in the current system, current political culture, that a commissioner would be in the PDP while the governor is very normal, you know. But the only thing that is a little bit abnormal in the process is for the governor to make it, you know.
You think he should have just kept it discreet?
Or maybe just communicate them individually, either through body language or through written, whatever.
Well, he says he doesn't have a body language.
He says he doesn't have?
Yeah, the governor said
The governor is a politician. Politicians are blessed with the resources of language, you know, to put across what they want to.
Okay, there's also an aspect I would like to capture here from the writer of The Nation. The Nation says here, defection to APC won't stop trial of corrupt governors, AGF. You think these defections is as a result of fears of being, should I say, witch hunted or tried over some misuse?
Jennifer, let me help you. This is the point where I clear my throat so I can tell the history very well.
All right, Maz.
Now here is it. Once upon a time, a former governor in Akwa Ibom State defected, and he was mocked. He was jeered. It was said that he defected because of the fear
a former governor.
A former governor. Okay. I won't go beyond that, but you know where I'm going to. Defected. And he was mocked. They said he was finished politically, and that it was the fear of the AFCC that made him defect. You're very much social media survey. You know what's been trending in the Akwa Ibom space on Facebook? That history, where many said that he had no political ideology. It was a fear of the EFCC. He wasn't fit politically. Now, every one of them are being reminded one by one as the state is about to be jagabanized. Do you think that the fear of the EFCC is why the incumbent is defecting to protect its predecessor? Well, take your mind to Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa and Sheriff Obowori. Don't forget, Okowa has a case with the EFCC. So that is what has been likened in the case of Akwa Ibom State. Or that the fever of the Jagabanization has caught Akwa Ibom.
Well, let me start from the EFCC angle.
I'm sure you know that history, right?
I know the story. You see, personally, I don't think the present governor is defecting for the purpose of covering his predecessor from the grip of EFCC. Of course, the EFCC is an independent body, so to say. The former governor is not the present governor. He doesn't have that immunity any longer. If the EFCC is poised on investigating him, if there's any
they have a case.
If they have a case, actually, I think they will do their work. The present governor does not, to me, he doesn't appear to possess sufficient capacity to shield him from the eyes of the EFCC. So I think as one who had been a politician before, some time ago, I was, I think the present governor is pursuing, because all is all about interest. Whether you call it personal interest, you call it state interest, of course, the state is an extension of the self. Plato, in his political philosophy, noted that the state is an extension of the self. So when you talk about interest, interest is first you, before you project it from yourself to the state level. So I think the present governor of Akwa Ibom State is not defecting. I don't think he's defecting to protect his predecessor, but rather, I will not also think it is all about the fear of Jagabanization. I think it's a personal interest as well as political convenience.
Political convenience.
Yes.
So that no one who has a case with the EFCC and has or is planning to defect is going to be shielded from answering questions.
It should not be. They should not be shielded. If a thing like that happens, then the EFCC is will become a laughing stock. It's a mockery. It's a caricature of itself, of what it should be. So I don't think it should be the way out. Someone will steal money, and tomorrow, because of a party, okay, I have to run to the party to cover me from being tried. Then it makes nonsense of our judicial system.
Yeah, but once upon a time, somebody says if you cross over, your sins will be forgiven.
It's not. Yeah, that's a biblical idea, not a political.
Yeah, but it was said by a top politician, who's now a senator.
Yeah. Well, that's a.
You think that don't obtain anymore? Maybe obtain that.
It could be rhetorical, circumstantial rhetorics. A certain statements a politician will make, which is circumstantial and territorial, very relevant and useful at that time and within that place. So
not useful anymore.
Useful.
It won't play. It won't play out the same way.
Even certain things in the Holy Bible, there are certain statements in the Bible that were said, depending, influenced by the environment then, as at that time. Some statements are allegoric, simple allegories to use to analyze, concepts.
Okay.
So it could be statements.
Before we head to other stories on newspapers, let's still look at the government sealing off of the PDP headquarters on Monday. And
that's the Wadata Plaza.
Yeah, one of the riders had said, action not politically motivated. You think it's really not politically motivated, considering the fact that this is due to unpaid ground rent? But why at this time? The PDP is experiencing so much of eruption, I would say, because there has been so many defections from the PDP to the APC, and there's also some internal wranglings in the party. And why now? You're
Jennifer,
talking about
let me even help
rent.
you. A stalwart of the PDP is the FCT minister. That's where you have Wadata Plaza. So if anybody is supposed to be considerate, it's supposed to be the FCT minister, who is also a stalwart of the PDP. So the question is, as Jennifer asked, is there some political undertone as to what's going on with the PDP, especially with the sealing of Wadata Plaza?
It's a complicated situation. Now, if we go by their explanation, unpaid rent,
yes,
I think that was
ground rent.
Fine, unpaid ground, whatever. That means they're owing.
Yeah.
If it is on that ground, and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory
is
a stalwart of that very party, and they don't have enough sufficient money. That party doesn't have capacity to pay their rent,
ground rent.
Then what? Let's
shouldn't he at least be considering?
He's supposed to be the party for crying out loud.
It could be like you said. Some would say it's politically motivated, and others would say it's just because of the not paying their whatever their rent. I think it has some blood running, some political.
I think he's fighting his party.
Yeah, there's some some water running under the bridge, because it will be very difficult to believe that at that level, the party at the national level cannot pay for their rent. It's funny, except there is a plan, except there is a revolution.
Political revolution of some sort.
Yes, of some sort, Or maybe law of diminishing return has caught up with the PDP. It has to be washed off. I don't know, but I
like how you bring that economics in.
Yeah.
Me of the days of economics back then in secondary
school. I can still remember. I was not very good, but a few concepts I still remember in the class.
And so this is playing out economically.
Exactly. Economically, law of diminishing return. Certainly, you have to come down.
Yeah.
You had a teacher then who would say, "Nature will bring you back." Nature. We used to laugh then. It is now that I come to know that the man was a philosopher.
But let us put some concepts on the table. If the FCT minister, who we know as a no-nonsense man, when he wants to do something, he'll do it irrespective of whose ox is gored. People will say he's supposed to shield his party from this embarrassment of some sort. But look, the Wadata Plaza is about to be sealed on account of, ground rent.
The collapse of Wadata. The collapse of Wadata.
I think you've coined the headline there.
The collapse, I think I read
as a publisher.
I read a feature on that, the collapse
but
of Wadata.
Shouldn't he have been the one to shield the party
maybe he doesn't
this
want to.
embarrassment?
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to act like a party officer. He is a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Sorry, a minister. He is a minister. He is saving the
and by
country.
implication, the FCT.
Yeah, he is saving the country. Maybe he doesn't want to be so partisan. Maybe that's what he's trying to do.
If we're going to look at that aspect, let me put this scenario.
Yeah.
If it was the APC's building that had this issue, you think he would have handled it this way?
Jennifer, you're about to shake tables.
You're
about to shake tables.
That's a very hard nut to crack.
Okay.
But I think it would not go that way if it was.
If it will not go that way, then
it is safe
don't
to
you
say
think he's fighting his
PDP
party?
He may not really be the one. Maybe, like I said, maybe there is a revolution. Maybe there is what do you call that thing in the Bible? At the end of the world, they say something that will happen. Everything would...
End time?
Judgment, end time.
Judgment day.
There's a word, Armageddon, there's a word.
Armageddon.
Something like that. Maybe PDP is experiencing law of diminishing return. Maybe.
Okay.
All right, then.
Let's leave it there. Jennifer.
Okay, let's get back to The Nation. The Nation brings in something here. It says, ASU moves strike over release of 150 billion revitalization fund. Wants federal government to address outstanding demands. ASU again. Should we be scared? Or this has become a frequent word synonymous to ASU?
I think on the one side, ASU is one of the only remaining pressure group that can, make some sounds in Nigeria, the present Nigeria. But on the other side, it has almost become a recurring decimal. Every 2-3 months, you hear about ASU strike. After a couple of months again, we hear they have not implemented what they had promised us and all of that. So I think it's in the interest of that sector, education. They should look inwards. And the federal government too should not always allow this to
get to this level.
Every time, every now and then.
Okay.
It ridicules our corporate identity.
Okay, still on educational matters, just on the top left, we have 2025 UTME. 2025 UTME DSS, please arrest 20 for hacking JAM websites.
That's a good one. That's a good one. A very good
this
one.
is coming on the heels of the mass failure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you think this has anything to do with the mass failure?
Well, it could, very, very likely. That's commendable because you see, JAM, it's supposed to be. Well, I don't blame. I blame the criminals as well as a little fragment of the blame to the government because for a fine we have to go digital. When we were, I took my JAM over 20-something, 30 years ago, almost 20-something years ago. Then it was unwritten, it just stick.
You
buy the JAM form. You just buy the JAM form that time.
Same thing. Same thing here.
200 or 500 naira then.
Yeah.
And then you go with your pencil.
You see, apart from maybe giraffing into someone's own and all of that, there was no organized, fraudulent way of,
manipulating
cheating.
your answers.
Yeah, manipulating and cheating in JAM. But when you bring digitalization, when you bring digital aspect, from there, when the birds learn to fly so high, the hunters learn to shoot.
But questions here, because the JAM registrar, Professor Isaac Oluyede, had attributed the blame to network glitch. Okay, he spoke about the network providers, and he had also said that he knows the people who caused this. In that particular press conference, there wasn't any part that connected with the headline, as we're seeing, with the nation, with the hacking of JAM website. Yeah. Now, a new part of it, 20 persons arrested for hacking JAM's website. The question is, all along, was this whole thing caused by the hacking of JAM's website? Or that this is just another part they never paid attention to?
Well, I want to look at it holistically. When we experience election or electoral malpractice, we say it was network. There was no network to capture, there was no network to beaver and all of that. That's political. Now we are talking about academic, JAM, the same network. My question is, I don't want to go into the details of what happened. I want to give an overview opinion.
Yeah.
If Nigeria is not mature enough to go digital in every segment, why not we go gradually? Why can't we take it gradually? Let us assume it is true, it was network. Let's assume it is true that hackers came, whatever happened. But the question is, why is it that we always have, why if you go to maybe Europe now or America, fine, they've gone far in globalization, they have gone far in the process. We are learning the ropes. Why not learn the ropes gradually by our own capacity and in our own pace? You want to go to the bank now, sometimes you have emergency, serious emergency that you need to catch immediately. You go, they will tell you there's no network. And of course, you see there's no network. So it goes a long way to tell that we are still very far from, we are almost in the previous century, in the globalization mix.
Okay. Now, the question I'm going to ask here is there any lesson to be learned by WAEC? Because we're also learning that soon they will take WAEC to CBT.
And INEC too is talking about AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Well, I think before WAEC should not, for now. I would, in my opinion, they should not go
CBT.
For now, they should rather be sure that the curriculum is expanded to include and to intensify ITC. Intensify, because a lot of students are still crawling in the process of learning in information technology, whatever. A lot of students are still trying. These are those students that are about to take WAEC. So if you take it to WAEC now, it will be worse. There are some WAEC students that are external. Some of them are not students schooling. Some may have been in the maybe public service, maybe civil service. They want to upgrade their profile in the.
Yeah, but even at that service, they operate computers.
Not every,
so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, there are some staff that are maybe old by age. Some are maybe they left school long
But
ago.
even among the students, how many government schools have computer facilities to also train these children to prepare them for WAEC?
That's why I say they should take some time. It should take some time, because we are not mature enough. Look at like the one that is happening now, JAM. If this can happen in JAM, which is a bit smaller than WAEC. WAEC is wider. The population in WAEC is wider than that of JAM. So I think we should cut our coat, whatever, according like it used to say, the size, and also look before we leap.
Okay.
Well, let's go to first news. And here it says, Supreme Court dashes governor's hopes on 1.8 trillion naira loot recovery suit. First news. Supreme Court dashes governor's hope on 1.8 trillion naira loot recovery suit. And it is not just on First News, we can also see it on some other papers. Okay, on The Nation, it's been there. 36 governors lose bid to reclaim 1.8 trillion naira, 450 billion naira recovery funds. Supreme Court and the governors. You think this was going to happen in any way?
Well, it really, it's a welcome development. A lot of Nigerians have lost confidence in the judiciary. A lot of Nigerians. So whatever good thing like this comes from the judiciary is a plus, highly commendable. But it must not stop there. It must not stop there.
This governor's losing this bid to reclaim this loot that we're talking about. You think why they lost it? It's because of perhaps the fact that some of them will mismanage it, or that they did not have sufficient materials to fight the case to claim the loot?
A lot of them would be mismanaged. That one is very certain. That one we know. In fact, majority would mismanage it. It's only a few governors that are that prudent and focused. You see, in Nigeria, we experience a situation where emphasis is located almost totally from governance to politicking. More attention is paid to politics. More attention is paid to defection. More attention is paid to appointments. Who is appointed here? Who is appointed there? What about the next election? Where will I be? Than in checking the quality and the content of governance. Than in checking the extent to which public policies are executed. A lot of people don't have time to even think about that, don't even remember that. All we think about is politicking. So that's the reason for mismanagement of these funds.
And you think it's also perhaps the reason why they lost that case?
It's part.
Okay. Now, you in all of your analysis, I noticed that politics keeps coming up, and so I'm going to bring politics back again. And this time, I'm going to take our attention back to Weekend Trust. From the Weekend Trust, politics, the center stage there. If you look at the centerpiece, it reads, 2027, hurdles before the coalition. I like how the whole thing was cartooned out with a bus and a load on it. The director will display that on the screen. Weekend Trust, 2027, hurdles before the coalition. It comes with several stones in front of that moving bus.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautifully captured.
Let me read some of the inscriptions on the stones. It says here, who will step down for who? Lack of support by governors. No independent financier. Defections to APC. Infiltration by ruling party. Mistrust by opposition leaders.
These are the hurdles.
Yeah, the all hurdles they have to go through. And of course, we've seen the three names captured here: El Rufai, Obi, and Atiku. That's the coalition.
They're the ones with the box.
Yeah.
On top of the moving bus that is now blocked by this big stones, these rocks in front of them. You're a publisher. I would like for you to speak to the creativity, behind this particular cartoon depicting the hurdles before this coalition.
Yeah. Of course, in photojournalism, you hear that pictures speaks.
They tell good stories.
More than words, But in this one, I commend the creativity. This is unique. Those hurdles, these are things that will speak more than a page. If you were to caption this or to write it like a feature or an analysis, to take more than a page. To completely capture all these areas of interest, these poems, it will take a whole page. So the artist is superb.
Now let's look at those hurdles one by one. I like how, the stones have what they represent. I'd like to take the one that appears like the one on top of them all that says, who will step down for who? Now, three names here on the boxes, especially, please, director, play those, put back, so that we can speak to them. You've got Obi, Erufai, Atiku, right? In the course of the week, the Obedient Movement expressed their, fear.
Obedient Movement, not LP, not Labour Party.
The Obedient Movement.
Okay.
They expressed their fear with this hobnobbing, Peter Obi and Atiku hobnobbing. They've been talking, the bromance that seems to be existing between these two people lately. They expressed their fear and doubt. Because one paper also, I do paper reviews every day on radio, so I'm familiar with a lot of this news. One paper also talked about Obi being offered on a platter of gold the vice presidential ticket. Now, the three boxes on top of that box has Erufai, Obi, and Atiku. Who steps down for who? Who should step down for who? Taking into cognizance the peculiarity of the moment that it's the time of the South. So who steps down for who?
Well, it's
Director, please just leave that on the screen. Thank you.
If the three of them should come out, of course, political choice is influenced by emotions and sentiments.
Yes.
Not necessarily analytical presentation of the candidates.
Yes.
It has more of emotions and sentiments than, that. So among the three of them, these are different parties. The Atiku is seen as a PDP, leader.
Yeah, but of course, it's
Of
looking
course
to form a coalition.
Obi is seen from the angle of the Labour Party, while El Rufai is seen from the
SDP.
For now, he was APC,
but he officially defected.
Now, Nigerians are most times influenced by the name of a party.
And not the individual.
The weight and the name the particular party carries and commands. If I come out now, no matter how popular I am, I come out now and say I want to contest for maybe Federal House of Representatives in my community. I want to go under the platform of one
ZLP.
Whatever.
That's a fresh party.
Let me not mention most of their chairmen are my friends, so they will not come and So if I say I want to, those why now? Why not PDP? Or no, that party is bad. But I like you. I like the candidate. The guy is fine. But that party, you see, we are influenced. That's why I say the three of them. If you want to look at it from attitudinal angle, among the three, who among them has this kind of
political clout,
charisma, acceptability, simplicity? So it's a difficult question.
The point is, you're not even paying attention to the fact that there's an ongoing conversation that people are talking about. That is the turn of the South, and the only Southerner in this mix here is Obi. So who steps down for who?
If you go from that direction, I think they should give it for Obi. If we have to obey that rotational injunction, if there is an injunction like that,
yes,
you should leave it for the only person that is from that part of the country.
So Atiku should become vice president to Obi?
If we have
to becomes vice president to Obi?
If we have to go take that parameter, it's reasonable.
If we are going by that parameter, I would pick the next stone, which says no independent financier. Now, if I am financing this, you are equally financing
Who should finance then?
Yeah, so if we're leaving everything for you, are you going to fund everything on your own?
No, come back.
Questions
no independent
financier.
Okay, and then it should be what then if it is not independent? It should be party
finance. Well, let's look at it this way. Let me bring the story of the PDP with what happened with the 2023 elections.
Okay.
If you recall, one of the grounds of the FCT minister was that he had been the one holding the party, financing the party, and so his defense was that, look, he should have been considered because while every other person jumped ship, he was at that time governor financing the party. He was the one keeping the party together. Now, if we go by that stone, no independent financier. Now, if we pick Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who himself has political clout, has a financial muscle, commands some level of influence, I think, in my thinking, not an opinion, you can single him out as a financier. Now, if he should finance this coalition into a political party, automatically he gets the ticket.
Get the ticket.
Yeah.
Strong one, right?
That's a very strong analysis.
Those are the models.
Yeah, I think it's objective.
Okay.
It's visible. We can see it.
Jennifer, take us to the next stone.
Okay, well, the next stone which I'd like us to capture is mistrust by opposition leaders. Now, if we're looking at this aspect of mistrust, now trust is what should bring the bonding line between all of them.
Okay.
But if there is a mistrust between
among
them,
okay.
So you think this will even pull through? Can they put off their own issues with each other and previous political parties? Can they put that off?
That will not be very easy. It'll be a very difficult task. Of course, it looks like sleeping with a strange bedfellow. Picking a lady you don't know for the first time. You just see her, you pick her, you get home and you just shut your eyes and sleep. It's not very easy. Sleep over and begin to snore. So these are, though they are all Nigerians who know themselves, some of them are friends.
Yeah.
They must be political friends.
Yes.
Very likely they will be political friends. So that mistrust is very, very imminent. Until maybe later on in the process along, even with that, they will still, except those that had some relationship long before now, you themselves, maybe childhood friends, maybe schoolmates, maybe business, whatever. But when you talk about political union, political intercourse, there's always that mistrust. Because I know that if you have a way, you topple me and take over. There is always that mistrust.
All right, the next stone, which for me is very, very important that I need for us to speak to quickly, is the infiltration. I'd like to use the word alleged infiltration by the ruling party. There have been allegations that what's going on in some of these political parties, the battles that there are alleged. That's why I am putting the alleged there on that stone, infiltration by the ruling party. You think that's going to make it perhaps even difficult? Why? In the NNPP, there's problem. Kwankwaso is having issues there. In fact, there are rumors that Kwankwaso is already negotiating his exit from the NNPP. Yeah. Let's come to the Labour Party, where you have three factions. You've got the Nandadi Usman faction, which of course is also allied to Peter Obi and the Abia State Governor, Alex Oti. Now, you also got the Lamidi Apapa faction in the Labour Party. Then you also have the Julius Abure faction. There are, whispers in the corridor that one of these three persons in the Labour Party is playing the script of the ruling party, allegedly, right? Now, let's come to the PDP, factionalized. You've got the FCT ministers faction of the PDP. Yeah. You also got the Atiku Abubakar faction of the PDP. You have the PDP governors faction of the PDP. Should we also mention Bala Mohammed, the Bauchi state governor, his faction in the PDP? There are also whispers that one of these people is playing the script of the ruling party. Now let's come to the SDP. Now the SDP, there are people who are saying they will not give way for the people who just came into the party to hijack the party and control. Yeah. Now let's take our minds back to the history of the SDP. The SDP is the same platform Moshood Kashimawo Abiola contested on, and so it's got its roots firmly rooted in the Southwest. That alone is suspicion that the ruling party may have an inroad. Now, with all the scenarios playing out,
it's very likely.
Likely. Likely.
It's possible.
That.
Not like, I withdraw the likely. It is possible.
That the ruling party.
It is politically possible. I'm not saying they are doing. Yeah. I'm not saying it is happening.
Okay.
But from records,
yes,
such is practically possible. It is not impossible. I am not saying it is happening. Yes. But if you check records, and of course you know that politics is war without bloodshed. While war is politics with bloodshed, and politics is war without bloodshed.
Don't forget that
this is war.
Yes. Don't forget that RFI is the new entrant into the SDP. Yeah. And it is said that RFI has taken it upon himself to become the recruiter general, recruiting people into the party. Don't forget there are
starting
also
from himself.
Yes, there are also persons in the SDP that are saying, look, we will not allow outsiders come in and hijack the control of the party. And the SDP is one of those political parties firmly rooted in the Southwest, where the Jagaban is from.
Yeah.
And the Jagaban
from the time of Abiola.
Aha. So with all this playing out, this infiltration by the ruling party, is it possible?
And if it is possible, shouldn't we think that then the ruling party is smarter than them all put together, not to be able
but
to
that's a major
stand?
hurdle.
Yeah.
That's the most important hurdle. The strongest hurdle that would be. Because the SDP has its strongest, taproot in the West.
Yes.
All the part of the country is a small strings of roots, but the taproot is in the West. So that alleged infiltration is possible. It's
Jennifer, take us on the last stone. We've got just 3 minutes before we head out for a quick break.
This one is lack of support by governors.
Remember, I've mentioned the issue of governors. The governors in the PDP. Now, let me play another scenario. You've got Ude Okoye, Samuel Anyao for the secretaryship tussle. And don't forget, in the Southeast, they have said that as long as this tussle continues, they want Samuel Anyao. Now, if Samuel Anyao is not allowed to continue as the secretary of the PDP, most likely some of the PDP interests in the Southeast, they will pull out. The governors are not in
they
support.
didn't even have a strong root in the southeast.
Okay, so the governors are not in support. Don't forget, I also mentioned that the PDP governors have their own faction.
Yeah.
And they say currently they had wanted to work with Samuel Anyanwu, but somewhere along the line, it looked as though the tussle was so much. They said, okay, both Samuel Anyanwu and Ude Okoye, we don't want the both of you. We want to bring in somebody new. There is no support. These PDP governors, as we speak, there were, of course, rumors in the corridors that about 5 of them were about to leave the PDP. Now, if we take Sheriff Oboweri out, that's 4.
Beyond rumors, it's a grapevine.
Okay, now that's 4. Umoeno, rumored to also be on his way out.
It's not a rumor.
Okay,
Okay.
He has said
confirmed.
it. He
So
has said it.
confirmed. Now, that leaves us with 3 governors. Now, of these 3 governors, we don't know who
There's no
To
next.
start with, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara is suspended.
There will be
In
no,
fact, there's a wild card.
where will the support come from? From who?
Okay.
For what interest?
So,
then?
so this hurdles officially that particular cartoon.
It's a creative.
Apt.
It's a masterpiece of creativity.
It depicts
Capitalism.
clearly
Clearly
the
states,
issue of the coalition.
More than one full-page story. He has written in a few graphics,
Okay.
inscriptions.
All
All
right.
right.